Let's introduce you guys to one of the newest sponsors of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, a Living for We podcast. What happens when a regular day at school turns into the worst day of your life? Unfortunately, that's a reality that is happening way too frequently in today's world. Gun violence is the leading cause of death for young people in America, and in communities of color, the impact is even greater. Every bullet fired creates two victims, the person in front of the gun and the one pulling the trigger. Living for We, Keep Your Head Up podcast is an award-winning show that focuses on real stories, real struggles, and real solutions in Northeast Ohio. New episodes drop every other Tuesday, where you'll hear from host Marlene Harris-Taylor and her new co-host, Maisha Watkins, the executive director of the Cleveland Peacemakers. No one does a better job of bringing you stories from the front lines, victims, survivors, and those fighting for change. Each episode, they sit down with different organizations that are working to end gun violence and provide resources for those affected by gun violence. Whatever kind of help you need, there's a person for you to contact. Listen to Living for We wherever you get your podcasts, or watch the video version on IdeaStream's YouTube channel. You can learn more at ideastream.com/podcast/livingforwe. Subscribe today to Living for We on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure you guys check out the Living for We podcast series. In Browns news, Russell Wilson came and went. No contract offer was made. He visited the Giants. No offer was made to the Giants. Kirk Cousins is still a member of the Atlanta Falcons, now the most expensive backup in the entire league. And after his press conference on Friday, Myles did a podcast with the Cleveland Browns. Andrew Siciliano hosted the podcast. And Andrew asked Myles if the Browns had given him an indication of what they're going to do at quarterback next season. Here's the interaction between Myles and Andrew Siciliano.
In all seriousness, do you know who the quarterback's going to be? I mean, do you have an idea?
After conversations, I do have an idea.
Okay. Do you like the idea?
I like it enough to be here smiling in front of you, because I think we have a good chance of that happening and making the most out of it.
Can you tell us who it is, Myles?
You know I can't do that.
That felt like the Jim Gray LeBron decision to me. You know what? You remember like the back and forth like they had?
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Man.
I love that Andrew asked the question. I mean, he knew he wasn't going to get an answer.
Yeah. First of all, that sounds like Shedeur, right?
Sounds like it.
Like that sounds like that was my initial reaction.
Why you say that?
Because if it's a veteran quarterback, if you're Myles, if you're saying like I like it enough that I'm sitting here smiling, wouldn't you want the quarterback here first before you signed?
You want to know who it was.
Yeah.
I think.
Like, how do you know that it's not going to – like, if it's a veteran, I don't know what veteran would possibly make anyone on this market say –
I'm excited.
I'm in.
Or, yeah.
Right. So that tells me that it's somebody with the draft. It's somebody in the draft.
Yeah.
So my initial thought was Shedeur.
And I still think that Tennessee's taking Cam.
Yes.
So,
but is a rookie quarterback really enough to make an 8-year veteran say, you know what I mean, with the miss rate on these guys,
and he's been through a couple,
and this isn't even considered like one of those can't miss generational type talents. None of these guys.
That's why he said that he's going to make the most of it.
I'm just kind of confused by. I was just kind of confused by the whole thing.
Let me translate all of it for you. I have $40 million in my pocket for my play next season. I'm fine with whatever.
3 years
they do
from now, not next season.
Whatever they do from now, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an average of $40 million over the next 4 years. Peace out. G. Bush can be quarterback. I love me some G. Bush at quarterback. He gets up under there with his big body. Blue 82! And nothing like G. Bush at quarterback.
I'm never going under center.
Could you be the short yardage quarterback?
Hell yeah. Well, back in the day, he could have.
I think I'm trying to figure out how many hits before my life force is gone. Like I think it would take days off my life. Like I think literally maybe 2 yards and then I'm done. But I don't want to get into that. But this is very fascinating to me because I've kind of dropped back. You know what I'm saying? My knees are planted solidly on the ground at this point. No knee-jerk reactions from G. Bush. I'm just interested to see what they're going to do, Jay. I don't have no idea. They might get Shedeur. Yeah. They might.
I felt the same thing. I don't know why I did. I felt like I don't think that he would have. if they've told him, look, our plan is to get Will Howard in the second or third round, or we're going to take our chances and see who's left between Dart and Howard and some of these other guys, I don't think he would be as excited about that, because that's not really a plan. That's a wish.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
A plan is something that you feel that you can execute.
You're going to get with the number 2 pick.
And you're going to get it with the number 2 pick. And I think that the conventional thinking now is, this could be wrong. We're just making guesses. But I think the conventional wisdom right now is that Tennessee is going to take Cam Ward, and that would leave Shedeur Sanders. And the question specifically was about quarterback.
Right.
And if it doesn't include one of the 2 guys that are up top, then it's a hope, not a plan.
Now, do you feel like the Russell Wilson thing was that a move by Russ to inflate his stuff, or do you think the Browns actively brought him in? Because I just feel like it's weird that he took these visits, and usually when quarterbacks take visits, they sign somewhere.
I haven't been able to figure the Russ thing out, because I told you guys when I was in Indianapolis, that was the first time leaving the combine. That was the first time where I was like, yeah, okay, I think they're headed toward quarterback. And then this Russ thing came about, and it didn't make any sense, because you are not signing Russ Wilson and taking a quarterback at 2.
No.
Those two
so
plans
Russ as
do
a
not
bridge
connect.
is out.
Well, I just don't. Russ ain't coming here. I was talking about with Tyvis. Russ ain't coming here to be a backup.
No. Well, what if the plan is to have, like in Atlanta? I don't know what the hell Atlanta's doing, by the way.
I mean,
last year, with what Atlanta did by paying Kirk Cousins all that money and then drafting Penix,
I'm confused.
I was just floored by that.
You already have. Well, that's a whole other topic. But you already have the Atlanta guy in Kenny Pickett,
right?
Because you can start Kenny Pickett the first 3, 4, 5 games, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to bring the guy along slowly, you can't do that with Russ. If Russ is
but if
here,
the plan
Russ is
isn't
coming here to
do-
start 17
but
games.
The only thing I would say is perhaps the Browns have learned a very valuable lesson. And I know, even though it worked out with, I know, I keep trying, what the hell am I doing? You're so true, Jason. That's why I love you when you're on the panel opposite me. I'm saying conventional wisdom has to seep into their brain every once in a while, and I don't even get the full sentence out of my mouth, and Jason looks at me like I just grew 3 more heads.
Finish your point.
Well,
how did they
you're
learn
right.
a lesson?
You're right.
How did they learn a lesson?
So my thinking is, my hope is that, and even though the Baker thing worked out, they didn't start him at first,
right.
and then he had to be started because of the injury.
Yep.
I wonder what the plan would have been with Baker had there not been a need to play him.
The plan was to sit him that entire first year.
And see,
that was the plan.
And that's why I bring this up.
At one time.
I know. But because of the injury, you had to put him in there, and it worked out okay. Now, they have also gone through situations where they've drafted guys early that were not ready, and they played too early, and it absolutely not just wrecked that season, it wrecked their careers. So my thinking here is, particularly because I thought they had learned their lesson coming into Baker, let's draft the guy and let's pull a Green Bay. Let's just let him learn. Let him watch.
But Jay,
and that's why Russ would be a viable guy.
But if they brought Russ in like that, they don't want. I get the picture that they don't want no turmoil in the room. They want plain. They don't want no problems. We don't want too much. So why would you have Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett got his job taken by Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. You go out and give a 5th round pick. You gave something up to get him. You bring him in, and then you hear him say, "They said I could compete." Then the very next breath, they go get Russell Wilson, who's a veteran, who's technically coming off a Pro Bowl season for the Steelers. He's going to come in here too. You know he wants us to start, and then you're still going to take a. How would you put Shedeur Sanders in between that?
Well, that's why the Russ thing just doesn't. It
don't make sense.
Either they're doing it as a favor to somebody, or they're trying to put pressure on Atlanta to show Atlanta we have other options. I think there was more to it going on, or Russ wanted too much. I don't know. The Russ thing really threw me. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
I don't think money for Russ is going to be an issue. He's got a lot of dead presidents.
He does, but that doesn't mean he doesn't want more. Because he left New York without an offer, too.
I think at some point, and I don't know if he's at that threshold, I would think that he is, just from an observer standpoint. At some point, it's more about putting the cherry on your legacy, getting another chance to start and perhaps win. I would think that would hold more value to Russ than a couple extra $1 million.
Yeah.
What is that going to do
But look at
for
the
him
teams
now?
that he's visiting. Are these teams Super Bowl contenders? The Browns
No,
and the
but
Giants?
they're teams that give him a chance. In Russ's
They
mind,
give him an opportunity to play.
I believe
Yeah.
that Russ is in this mindset right now. You give me the right situation with the head coach that lets me do more of what I like to do,
Yeah.
not Denver and not Pittsburgh. You put me in the right situation, and hell yeah, I believe I can still take a team deep on a playoff.
You're probably
run.
right, because
And that's what you're supposed to think.
Yeah.
Especially in the NFC. Like you
In the NFC, absolutely.
Here you go to the Giants. You looking at it, you like, listen. I like Dable. I like his offense. I got a number one receiver, and it's New York. I'm sure my wife loves that. Like
You're third best in your division immediately.
Yes.
Like you're not passing those other two. I don't think you're passing those
No,
other
but
two.
No.
if you go to the AFC,
You-
you're looking up at Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
We know the long
We know
list of
the- we know
quarterbacks.
them.
Now,
You're-
Washington has had a pretty good quarterback.
You're third best in this division too.
Yes, you're right. You're
So
third best.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know the Russ thing. I don't think I said last week. I'm sure people probably killed me for it, but I'd rather play Kenny Pickett than Russ. I don't know where playing Russ gets you. I don't know what you accomplish by playing Russ.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends,
you're
I
on-
think, on who we bring in here out of the draft.
I think if you bring Russ, you're not taking a quarterback at 2.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think you do either.
Yeah.
Look, I stand by my plan from 2 months ago.
Which is
I think they're taking Abdul Carter.
You think they will, or you think they should?
I think they will.
Will, okay.
I had said 2 months ago when the Brown season ended, I had said on this show, now obviously it took a detour because right after the season, when Myles said, we're not as far away as you think, I had done math, no insight, no, I didn't talk to anybody. I just had figured, okay, what would get him to that spot? I think what got him to that spot was the Browns said, look, we are going big on help for you. No more double teams. Imagine what you can do, Myles. You were the defensive player of the year and damn near 2 years in a row, drawing more double teams than anybody in the league. What's going to happen when we put another, not a free agent signing from Minnesota, when we put another legitimate star defensive lineman on the other side for you? How does that change your life? Now you're not just talking defensive player of the year talk. You're talking about amassing the kind of numbers that's going to put you in the conversation for the greatest of all time.
I still
Now,
think they're doubling them. Even with
if I'm
Abdul Carter on the
go
other
ahead.
side, you're
Yeah.
still
Listen,
doubling Myles.
it's a pick your poison. And you know what Myles is saying? Double him, and you got another guy over there. Then that guy will get 15 sacks.
What if Myles Garrett says, listen, hey, that sounds nice. The kid might get 15, 12 sacks or whatever. But get me some offense around here. Get me somebody that can score some points. If I give you the ball back on the fourth quarter, can you go down the field and score touchdowns? That's what I want to see. For me, I love Abdul.
But who's that guy that you can wave the magic wand and say that one guy is going to add that?
Well, if I had the quarterback, if I was getting Russ, I would draft Travis Hunter, and I would draft a running back right after that. I would go super offense.
I don't know. I mean, my plan was I thought that they had quelled his concerns by saying they're going to get him major help and they're going to address the quarterback in round 2, and there's still going to be some serviceable names. Maybe they brought up Will Howard, who, again, when you talk to some people that have a pretty good track record at analyzing future talent, Kurt Warner said it's not even close. He went back and looked at the last 4 games of all the quarterbacks, and he said, yeah, this isn't even a race. It's Will Howard. He makes every throw needed on the NFL level. He's smart. He makes great decision-making. He played in a pro-style offense with pro-style NFL wide receivers that he was throwing to, and he was putting throws in bread baskets from 55 yards downfield. I think that you could get excited about a guy like that, especially if you're going to have the opportunity to sit him for a year behind a guy like Kirk Cousins or even Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Learn how to be a professional, because there is a learning curve to that. Who knows? Why couldn't they do what Washington did?
If I got him in the 3rd round and I still got Travis Hunter and I still got one of the top running backs and I get him in the 3rd round, I have no problem with that if you got Russ.
If it works out, but you're running a lot of risk if there's another team out there that feels the same way you do.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a gamble.
So let's put a bow on this topic with this.
They do have the 33rd pick.
Yeah.
It is March 17th, Jay, at 11:44 a.m. Myles says he knows who that quarterback is going to be. I'm not asking who you think Myles thinks it'll be. I'm asking who you think the quarterback. Obviously, information will change over the next 5 weeks, but as of right now, 11:45, March 17th, who do you think the Browns' Week 1 quarterback is?
I don't think it'll be either of the first two, and I think it would be a survivor of the other guys, who I think Will Howard is the most likely guy, because I do think, originally he was a third rounder, then after the way he played in the playoffs, I'd heard him mentioned as a potential second round guy. If he's a potential second round guy and he's on the board and you're taking at 33 and you need a quarterback and you like this quarterback,
You take him at 33. Yeah.
You take him at 33.
So you think he'd be, even if they draft him, he'd be the Week 1 starter? I'm asking, do you think he'd
No,
be the Week 1
I don't
starter?
think he would be the Week 1 starter.
So does that mean Kenny Pickett in your mind is the
I
Week 1?
still am holding to the idea that they're going to bring in Kirk Cousins.
Cousins. Okay, G. March 17th, 11:45. Your best guess for the Browns' Week 1 quarterback.
Shedeur Sanders.
Woo!
Jason?
Either Shedeur or Kenny Pickett.
And I think
So they're
it's
done
close.
bringing in a veteran. Then there'll be no other veterans brought in, or Kenny will outplay them.
Honestly, I would go get Desmond Ridder and Trey Lance.
Oh.
And just
Wow.
have an open
Hey,
and have an open
No,
competition.
no. This is wild. This is the first time
Yeah, cook with this.
I've been saying I don't understand why will no one give Trey Lance? I mean, the kid.
I've watched him play.
But I'm just saying,
He's
it's a
been
flyer.
He's been awful.
He's
But as
been-
a flyer, what do you have to lose?
He's
How
played
many
like 2
has he
games.
started?
He's
How
played
many
3
games has he
games or
started?
something. Like,
Yeah, I
He's been horrendous.
yes.
And he very well could be Josh Rosen. Like the Cardinals knew right away,
Yep.
oh my God,
What'd
we
we
made a
do?
horrible mistake.
Yep.
We have got to get off this.
I mean, Kenny
and the
Pickett-
Niners did the same thing. And maybe he really is that bad. But Desmond Ridder started what? Maybe 15
Couple
games?
You've had Trey Lance has been on 3 teams.
The Cowboys?
The
Cowboys and Niners. That's it. Cowboys and
Okay,
Niners.
2 teams.
And the Cowboys said, we've seen enough. You're free to go.
Yeah, and the Niners.
I'm not
said
saying
that.
he's the answer. I'm
Yeah,
saying
no,
he's 24.
I understand what you're saying. Look, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
Bring him in. Let's see what we
Right.
have.
Right.
I mean, at this point, what do you got to lose? I really like Kenny Pickett as like a veteran, grown up in the room. I don't think you were here. I called a coach who knows him really well.
That was last Friday. You said that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you were here.
Yeah.
And said, great guy, great in the locker room, great leader, not much of an arm, no confidence.
Yep, I remember. you said
So
that.
maybe you can rebuild some of the confidence a little bit. You worry about the arm, obviously being in December here on the lake. You got to really drive some of those throws in that stadium. But as just a veteran in the room, I think you got your guy. And from there, I'm with G. You want draft 2? Draft 2. You want to bring in a couple street free agents and
Yeah.
check them out?
Make it
but I don't understand
quarterback
getting-
palooza. Just
I wouldn't bring in a 36-year-old. But
I
I would
agree.
bring in a guy who's young, who's cheap, who's got a little bit of road in front of him still, maybe, and maybe you get lucky because at some point you got to think. You would think in 25 years you're going to get lucky.
And
at some
isn't
point
that
on one of these.
allegedly Kevin's fastball? I mean, we saw him use
He
5
won with
different
PJ
quarterbacks.
Walker?
Yes. So
He can't.
if that's his fastball, then
don't-
go ahead, bring in Trey Lance. I don't care if
Trey Lance may not survive training camp. Fine.
Yeah, then he's
Fine.
gone. You kick the tires on him. But here's the thing that I tell you, this has me second guessing myself on quarterbacks all the time. I think I said this Friday on Channel 3. I may have talked about it here a little bit too. What happened last year in Minnesota kind of breaks the paradigm on the way the league has thought about backup quarterbacks and quarterbacks that were drafted highly but then washed out of the league. It changes the paradigm because when a guy is on the proverbial junk heap, which can we all agree that's where he was?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And he comes to Minnesota and wins 14 games and plays like a Pro Bowl quarterback all year long, you kind of have to start thinking if Sam Darnold can do it, there's got to be other guys that the league has given up on or is prepared to give up on right now that might be able to find magic in a bottle with the right coach in the right system.
Minnesota had a lot of talent.
They had a lot of talent,
but Addison and Jefferson.
I know.
Jay, can I simplify your statement into
Sure.
a statement?
Yeah.
Situation is almost more important than anything else when it comes down to a quarterback.
Well, but you can't create skill set where it's not there.
I'm just saying Sam Darnold had the same skill set in 4 different spots and in the right situation was able to blossom in ways he had in prime.
No question.
By the way,
but it might have had more to do with a coach. We've heard this before. A coach just unlocks a guy's potential.
by the way, man, a great philosopher once said, situations will arise. but you got to be smart about it.
You know what they said about Sam Darnold? I mentioned this Friday. I know I did. That he famously said, "I'm seeing ghosts," and everybody said, "That's it. End of the career. He's seeing ghosts."
Yeah.
To the Kenny Pickett point, if you can rebuild him and get his confidence back, and let him realize that you can still make those throws. In Pittsburgh, they broke you. We're here to rebuild you and to see what you have. I don't know that I'm told Kevin Stefanski's the guy that can do that. We've seen him do it with certain guys. So why not? Maybe they will have 5 quarterbacks in camp, and let's just play it out and let's see. It's a real life talent show at NFL quarterback.
Can I throw you? I know Mike wants to move on. One little curve, circling back to the Will Howard at 33.
Okay.
If there's a guy you like at 33,
Yeah.
You got to trade up to get him.
bingo.
Yeah.
Go
absolutely.
up to 32
Yep.
just to get the extra 5th-year option on him.
100%.
So-
even if especially if there's no fear that they're going to take him at 32. That extra year of control by whatever asset you give up
Right.
is completely worth it.
If you're at 33, go to 30, 31, whatever
Yep.
it is, just to get the extra year. If
agree.
that's the route, I don't think they're going to go
100%
that way.
agree.
But if that's the route, I think it would be a mistake to sit at 33 and take a quarterback at 33. If you
Yeah.
really like
Hell,
him,
even
go
if it's a quarterback, if they love a guy at the end of the first round, trade up and get that 5th-year option. They have 13 picks now with the compensatory picks in
Wow.
this draft. They're not going to have 13 rookies on the 53-man roster. If you like guys, go get your guys in this draft.
Give
Andrew
away
Berry
those
has to
late-round
nail it.
picks.
How do you nail it? Go get the guys you really like.